everyone, this is Clarice. Today I have a bit of a story time for you. This happened 10 years ago, so the details are not so clear anymore, but I think it's a pretty funny story, or it's a story worth telling at least. So it's about being hit on by a businessman, and where he proposes to do a threesome with him. So if you're interested, keep on watching. So the story begins like this. When I first started working at my first company in Germany, it was an internship. So they hired me for a fixed term for a few months, and they would see if I was a fit at the company, and they were promising, if everything went well, that I would work from Stuttgart here, and if I wanted to, I could also work in Japan at the end. So since this was a fixed term, in those days I believe I was the first foreigner to work with them in Germany. So they let me stay at a hotel nearby. It was actually a hotel for the entire length of the stay, so for a few months. It had its advantages, had its disadvantages. Disadvantages was like you had to eat the same food all day because there was no kitchen. Also, there was not really any space to work out, although I joined a gym. The advantages were obviously there was a breakfast served to you every day, and you didn't have to clean your room. So one day I was eating breakfast at the hotel, and there was a guy at the table near me, and he was, I think at that point in time he was quite a few years older than me. I would say late 30s or early 40s. Keep in mind this was 10 years ago. And he seemed like he was an Indian guy, and so he noticed that I was also eating breakfast alone, so he started talking to me, and he was really friendly, and he said, hey, where are you from? The standard questions, what are you doing, where are you working? And then I also asked him, and it turns out that he was from Munich, and he's been sent over to Stuttgart for a business trip. So yeah, we got to talking, and I was saying, it's a bit lonely here, I don't know anyone. This was at the very beginning of my stay in Germany, so I practically didn't know anyone in Stuttgart. And I said, I'm not sure what to do in the evenings here. The weekends are a bit boring, because where I was staying, it's actually a pretty small suburb of Stuttgart. There's not much going on at night. It's actually, old people centrum. So there's actually nothing of a downtown or anything. It's just one street where there are like drugstores and a few doctors and some restaurants, and also where the hotel is, and some bakeries, but nothing else. So the guy was like, I know what you mean. I'm also an expat, so why don't we hang out one evening, and I can take you out to an Indian restaurant, and I could maybe introduce to you some more Indian stuff. Well, I already love Indian food, so I'm like, okay, sure. And I thought, we're two bored people, so let's hang out a bit. So that day comes, I think it was like the next day, and he actually rented out a car, so we drove out to a restaurant that he found, and it was fine. In the car we were chatting and stuff about like Indian culture, Bollywood stuff. I have lots of Indian friends in Calgary, so I kind of know some of this stuff and can relate to him. So we get to the restaurant, and it was fine. He ordered stuff he thought I would like. I mean, he was taking over. And then somehow the conversation got turned a little weird. He started talking about relationships and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, I'll shrug it off. I mean, we're just friends, right? So yeah, I don't remember much of the meal anymore, but I remember we got back in the car afterwards, and then he kind of was like contemplating to himself. He was really quiet. And then I was like, what? And then he was like, oh, are you interested in some more fun tonight? Like, would you like to go to my room maybe? I can give you a massage. I was like, what? What? And then I realized at this point I was like in the car with him, and it was not such a good situation, but I didn't feel threatened at this point. So I said, let's just go back to the hotel. No to your questions, but let's go to the hotel. Thank you for the meal, let's go. And yeah, he drove back to the hotel. There was an underground parking, so he parked at the underground parking. He stopped the car, and then he was contemplating to himself again. He got really quiet. He was just like the wheel of the car, like, I think he was gearing himself up for asking more stuff or saying weird things. I don't think he's used to doing this stuff, and he just decided to try it out on me. So he was like, are you sure you don't want a massage? And I'm like, no, I don't want a massage. I'm gonna go up now, thank you. And then he was like, but we could have a threesome, we can try all these things. I mean, you're up for trying new stuff, right? I'm like, no. And I said, I'm gonna go out now. So I left the car and promptly ran up to my room and locked the door. So I don't know what came over him. He must have been really desperate at this point. So he went to the reception and he asked the lady at the reception for my room number, and kept on ringing the door. No, sorry, not the door. Kept on ringing the phone. And I was like, oh my God. And I locked the door and I was like, oh my God. And then I just kept ignoring all his calls, and then I fell asleep. And I think he realized how awkward it was, because the next day he didn't appear at the breakfast table, and I was like, thank goodness. And yep, that was that. In hindsight, I realized that was a pretty dangerous situation, because he could have locked his car door and I would have been stuck. But it's at these like weird moments where you don't really think of the dangers. Everything's like flashing in your head, and you're like, am I really experiencing this? And like, how do I react? So this is like a weakness for me, I guess. I don't react actively to these situations. Anyways, I don't think he was a danger, but like, I don't understand why he suddenly out of the blue suggested a threesome, because I don't know who the third one would be. Yeah. Yep, so I hope he learned from this experience. I certainly did, and I will never go out on these friendly outings anymore with business people in hotels, because I realized that a lot of them get the wrong idea. So yeah, this was the funny story, and actually I have a follow-up story to creepy guys. Actually I have a few. I'll tell you another one later, and this one even ended up in court. So yeah, that's for another video. We'll just start with, we'll leave it at this one right now. So this was the beginning of, yeah, some creepy guys in Germany for me. Yeah, I hope you like the story. I hope you learn also. Don't say yes to going out to these people because they think you're encouraging them. I just wanted to like go out as friends between expats, but yeah, obviously I sent the wrong signal. Bad on me. So if you like the story, give me a like and subscribe if you want to hear more of these. Yeah, lots of nice stories, funny stories, whatever, and for more tips and experiences that I had here. Yeah, just keep following me, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!